Hi there. I'm wanting to talk today about self-identity a little bit more. Interestingly enough, last night I went to a talk regarding building resilience in teenage boys, specifically about teenage boys. And I have a teenage boy myself. He's about to turn 17, and I also have a 7-year-old boy. And although I feel like I've been on the right track and I've done a pretty good job with him, he's a lovely, well-adjusted young man. There's still so much that I can learn, and so I found the talk incredibly interesting. And then, ironically, today I was listening to a good friend who has a wonderful page, Dr. Fern. Dr. Fern White, medicine woman. She gives beautiful insight and information regarding self and everything to do with it. And she touched on a subject about identity and self-belief. So that prompted me to talk a little bit more about that, because nothing, and this is what Fern was saying, nothing has meaning except the meaning that you give it. So what I was talking about in my last video about giving energy to things about yourself that you're really happy with, rather than giving energy to things that you're not happy with. So you are the creator of your own beliefs, and whatever you think on, you will be. So, for example, relating this to what we look like, if you were born with some type of facial deformity, and you were reminded of this constantly by not so much negative feedback, but children pick up on little things and dialogue that's actually going on between parents about, we have a few problems with that particular thing and blah, blah, blah. And little innocent throwaway comments that you might find actually don't have any stronghold, but they actually start to form patterns. And how this relates to identity is because we relate who we are to the things that we know about ourselves. So as a child, if you're continually hearing dialogue, oh, she's such a sensitive child and all that sort of stuff, well, then, of course, you're going to be a sensitive person because you are going to define yourself by the dialogue that you're hearing. So I'll give you another example. My younger son, when he was very little, had incredibly curly hair, and both my boys have got a lot of hair, and the youngest one had such adorable curls that everywhere he went, it attracted attention. Now, being me, was also very quick to deflect this type of physical attention, and he actually was, I could see every time someone wanted to touch his head because of his curly hair, he didn't like it. So I made people very aware very quickly to not comment on his physical appearance. It actually has nothing to do with who he is as a person. And these are the things that actually do start to define people. So if there was something about your facial feature that wasn't so pleasing to the eye, then you would start to associate that with your life. And then as you get older, it ends up being one of those beliefs that can really hold you back. So every time something happens, you will hold that thing responsible for that. So on the flip side of that, like the actual opposite, about, our identity doesn't have to be defined by our physical appearance. And the same too can be said for physical features that are actually, that we find pleasing. So, you know, if you're a pretty girl and you're always told as a child that you were a pretty girl, or you had pretty hair, or you had something about you, it's the same for boys and girls, then that would be the thing that you would hold on to. It would actually give you power. And that power doesn't need to come from the way we look. So by focusing on the inner strengths that we have, rather than defining ourselves by our physical appearance, it actually ends up holding more weight, because real true beauty doesn't come from what we look like. It comes from what we think we are and how we feel about ourselves. So really, as soon as you realize that you can be limited by your beliefs, the sooner you might actually start to change those. So if you're continually somebody who has had weight issues and this has been a really hard battle for you, then it will always be your focus. You will always be thinking about it, and it will define you. You'll be triggered by things. It will be something that you will always feel self-conscious about. Same too with our facial features, our appearance in every way. If it's something that you're giving energy to and you're actually in your own head about that stuff all the time, then you're going to end up actually defining yourself by these. So if we change our beliefs about who we are, then we may actually start to change not only the way we see ourselves, but the way the world will start to respond to us. So rather than falling victim to, oh, well, I brought that upon myself, or that happened to me because of what I look like, or I'm not accepted because of what I look like, if we accept ourselves because of what we look like and actually give power more to who we are on the inside, watch what happens in the world. Watch the world change. I'm going to leave you with that, and thank you to Fern for putting that out there, and thank myself for actually watching that today. And any helpful advice that we can get, I think, is worthwhile taking the opportunity to seek out, especially with the world that we live in. And so onward to feeling good about who you are, but also making your children feel good about who they are too. Bye.